Hello everyone. Welcome to my channel. Today, I will introduce you an excellent paper named Optimal Fleet Replacement Management under Cap and Trades Why Stem with Government Subsidy Uncertainty, whose author is Leah Eng Zhao. First of all, I will show you the abstract of this paper. China has taken a number of positive measures to meet the requirement of environmental protection. The switch to electricity, especially in transport sector, is considered as a promising way to reducing greenhouse gas emissions and facilitating to meet China's carbon neutral target in 2060. Besides, because of the overall impact of the COVID-19 on the transport sector, the future measures imposed by the government on electric vehicles remain in high uncertainty. Taking the characteristics of different vehicles, business models, uncertainty of government financial subsidies, and environmental factors into consideration, a replacement optimization model for a taxi fleet is proposed in this study under the cap and trade system. We assume that the taxi company has 4 types of vehicles to purchase or lease and manage to maximum the pecuniary advantages and environmental benefits. Simultaneously, experimental results analyze that EVs and battery swap electric vehicles are highly competitive when government subsidies do not decline. During the early stage of the planning horizon, adjusting the fleet continuously and timely can help the company to realizing the maximum revenue. Secondly, I will introduce the problem description. To begin with, this paper considers a taxi company management decision in the long term by developing an optimal fleet replacement model. It is assumed that the company has 4 options, which are purchasing internal combustion engine vehicles, purchasing electric vehicles, purchasing plug-in hybrid electric vehicles, or battery swap vehicles. Since most owners trade or resell their vehicles before the service time to generate more profits, resale values are an important determinant of net ownership cost. Therefore, we not only analyze the purchase cost variation, but also considered the difference in resale ratio. The explanation of notations is given below. What's more, based on the battery supply chain structure, it is assumed that the battery pack price follows to stage learning curve which captures the practical limits to battery cost reduction as defined below. Based on oil taxation and pricing mechanisms in China, the future trend of the retailed gasoline prices can be projected by analyzing the crude gasoline price fluctuation. The carbon emission permit price can be defined in the following formula. The realization probability for each scenario KSI is equal for one instance, and it depends on the number of scenarios. In this model, if scenario KSI realizes, the given subsidy level will be applied for each purchase cost. Next, we will concentrate on the experimental results and sensitive analysis. As mentioned above, there are 4 types of vehicles for the company to choose, which are ICE versus PHEVs, EVs and BSVs. With regard to BSV, it might be a better option for the company to diminish the initial purchasing cost since the battery price is separated from the acquisition value of the EVs compared to the volatile price of electric vehicles. The internal combustion engine vehicle's price is relatively stable. Thus, it can be assumed that the price of ICE versus is fixed during the planning horizon. Each additional year of vehicle use adds 13.4% to its annual operation and maintenance cost. Considering the reduced maintenance need of EVs and the increased experience in this sector, with the wider adoption of EVs in general, we assume an annual 3% decrease in OM cost. After years of using, the fleet owners generally expect a high salvage rate of the initial vehicle value. Table 7 defines the different scenarios with and without a leasing strategy. In light of the government subsidy variation year by year, We assume that the subsidy levels decline at 256 different rates, which are opposed to C0 and C3. Contrary to the cases mentioned previously, C1 and C3 omit the policy changes, which means that the subsidy level remains the same in planning horizon. Table 8 illustrates the number of heterogeneous vehicles in each setting. It is shown that AV and BSV are preferred in purchase decisions regardless of the vehicle rental strategy or the difference in government subsidy level. In the cases of C1 and C3, the holding number of IC EV is much lower than the other cases, indicating that the electric vehicles are competitive if the government subsidies do not decrease. When we hypothesize that the company can use BSVs by leasing battery, this kind of vehicle is quite dominant compared with other vehicles. The last part of this paper is the conclusions as cases study. Various problem settings are considered, including vehicle type variation and government subsidy level variation figs. 1C3. To sum up, the most important findings are presented as follows. 1. EVs and BSVs are highly competitive when government subsidies do not decline. 2. If vehicle rental strategy is considered, BSVs are more favored over the other types of vehicles. 3. During the early stage of the planning horizon, adjusting continuously to cater for the vehicle technological progress and the requirement of environmental protection can help the company to realizing the maximum revenue.